How's it going, guys? Welcome to another video. When the pandemic hit last year, like a lot of other photographers, we were kind of just stuck inside, quarantining, trying to be safe, and we weren't able to really, shoot or make money or do the things that we're used to doing. So when it all kind of started happening, one of the things I looked towards to kind of fill in my time and kind of help me make some extra income, or at least I thought it was gonna help me make a little bit extra income, was stock photography. So in this video, I'm going to talk about everything that I've learned and how much money I've made over the past year getting started in stock photography and specifically Shutterstock. So before I get started, I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you how much I've made and how many downloads I have over a year and a couple months, because I started in May of 2020. How much money I've made on Shutterstock so far, and you're gonna be surprised. I've made a whopping $28.26 off of 99 downloads. And before you click off the video thinking that you thought this video was gonna help you get rich quick, or how you're gonna make a full-time living on stock photography or Shutterstock, there are a lot of things that I've learned in the past year as to why I haven't had success or, have made hundreds, thousands of dollars in a year on Shutterstock. First tip I would give you if you wanna get into stock photography is really set your expectations to the amount of work you wanna put in. If you want to just continue shooting the type of stuff you're shooting, and let's say you're a landscape photographer, then don't expect to be making a ton of money off of your landscape photos on Shutterstock. However, if you actually want to make relative content, I'm gonna use another example, Nicole Glass on YouTube, who when I first started getting into or trying to figure out stock photography, I used her channel, and she's a channel that talks specifically about Shutterstock and stock photography and all that stuff. One of the few things that she shoots very often, especially because I think she lives in an area where there's a lot of like political rallies and protests and stuff like that, she goes to all of them, takes photojournalism photos and puts them up on Shutterstock, and that's where a lot of her income comes, because again, that is very relevant to stuff people are going to be using and writing about online. So really, just to paraphrase, tip number one is set your expectations, and if you actually do want to make a full-time living, you're gonna have to put a lot more effort than I did and actually shoot things that are relevant to what people are writing or talking about, and pretty much you just have to chase the trends of current events and news and stuff like that. So then tip number two is just kind of gonna be a short one, is just don't just be posting photos that you're taking and think you're gonna make money. If you have the time to post on Shutterstock and websites like that, and you shoot content that may not be super popular, just post it anyways if you have the time to do so, because it doesn't hurt. I am $28.26 richer than I was a year ago, I guess, because I decided to post stuff on Shutterstock. So there's that. Really, the time you put into it may be worth it, may not be worth it. It's really for you to decide. Another thing that I kind of realized is you may actually be taking away value from your work. Some of you may know that I have a website where I sell my prints. It's a Smug Mug website, and so they kind of handle all the printing and shipping for me. If you're interested, check it out. It's gonna be linked in the description. But when you really think about it, if I have my photos on Shutterstock, that means anybody could just go ahead and download it and print something themselves for a lot cheaper than it would be on my website. And so that's just something to think about. I'm not necessarily making a ton of money every month off of prints, but it is something important to think about. It's kind of one of the reasons why I kind of slowed down how much I was actually putting on Shutterstock, because I realized that I don't want to be taking away from my creative work and my prints, which is something I care a lot more about, and giving people physical prints and selling them, than just a random person around the globe downloading one of my photos for something or anything for them to use. And then kind of my last thing that I learned is don't be afraid to go out and shoot things that you think might work, and maybe they will work, maybe they won't work. Something that I sort of started doing is when I got my new car, which is a 2021 Subaru Crosstrek, I took a ton of photos of it, and I still do have an Instagram account for my car. And so I'm always just kind of, whenever I'm out taking photos in the Everglades, dirt roads, stuff like that, with like just cool, scenery, I take a photo of the car, and post it to that Instagram, but I also post it to Shutterstock. And actually, my most downloaded collection of work has been from my car. And the main reason why is that it's a 2021 Subaru Crosstrek. Since it's a new car, I'm sure there's people around the world who need photos and assets of this car when they're writing articles about it, and so they're downloading it. So once that kind of clicked, I started taking photos of a few more cars just to kind of see how it would do. One thing I quickly realized, if it's a 2020, 2019, or older model, they're not getting downloaded. But I do have a few 2021 year models on my Shutterstock library that do get downloaded a decent amount of times. And what I mean by a decent amount of times for myself is 2 or 3 times, again, because I'm not making a ton of money on Shutterstock. And so really what I did is I kind of found a trend, started shooting it, tested it out, and realized it may work. But yeah, with that being said, just to kind of paraphrase again, the most important thing when it comes to stock photography and figuring out what you want to, if you want to spend time on stock photography, is really just shooting relevant content that people are going to download, and constantly thinking about that. There are people, again, who are full-time stock photographers who shoot every single week, every single day with models and talent. And whether, you know, really the stuff that does well on stock photography is anything business related, corporate related, news related. I guess cars kind of do well from what I've seen. But just because you have beautiful photos, beautiful landscape photos, that doesn't mean it's gonna do well, because really who's downloading it? Stuff that has to do with education, that does really well. Stuff that has to do with being a young professional, or food, or drinking, like alcohol, anything like that, or parties or holiday themed things like Christmas time, if we're doing like flat lays of Christmas decorations and stuff like that, that does very, very well on Shutterstock. Just posting your landscape photos like I've done for the past year does not do well. So that's gonna conclude this video. I'm sure this video wasn't very long, and I know it really only targets a few of you who might be interested in stock photography, but I just kind of wanted to give my perspective on the past year of trying to do stock photography, and just the things that I learned. They're very basic, very simple. I'm sure some of you could have guessed or already knew this stuff. But I hope one of you found this video useful. And if you did, I would appreciate if you did leave a like, comment, and subscribe on the video. And if you're curious whether I'm gonna continue doing stock photography, most likely not. Like I said, I feel like I'm taking value away from my work when I'm posting on Shutterstock, because that means anybody can just go ahead and download any of my landscape photos and print it for themselves instead of going to my website and stuff like that. So probably won't continue unless I take a photo that I don't really care to be printed. But even then, with Shutterstock, you're only making 10 cents a download, and that became a thing right after I joined. Shutterstock announced that they're moving from 25 cents a download to 10 cents a download, so it kind of did screw everybody over. Thank you for watching. Check out all the links in the description, and I will see you guys in the next video.